President Obama jumping into the campaign this week, taking on Donald Trump, who's taking on the issues of illegal immigration and Syrian refugees.
To offer some sort of vague, nostalgic feelings about how, we'll make Britain great again, or we'll make America great again, and the subtext for that is somehow that a bunch of foreigners and funny-looking people are coming in here and changing the basic character of the nation.
If I ever used the word funny-looking people or whatever the phrase he used, it would be a headline all over the world. With him, nobody even mentions it.
Boy, it's getting nasty. So who's right, who's wrong? Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Bolling. Welcome to Cashing In. With us this week, Gina Loudon, Meredes Schlapp, Juan Williams, and Ric Grenell. Welcome, everybody. So, Gina, of course the mainstream media agrees with the president, but is Trump right on this one? Can you imagine if Trump said funny-looking people? The place would go crazy.
Well, if Trump were under criminal investigation and he met with someone on an airplane, the whole world would go crazy. I mean, the list goes on, Eric. There's absolutely a double standard. And I've heard even a lot of my Democrat friends admit that there is a double standard, that for some reason conservatives are held to something entirely different than Democrats are. And I don't really understand it, but I think it's time that conservatives stand up and call it out. We don't have to put up with it anymore. And we have had impact on how media is covering things unfairly, and I think we should continue to be a loud voice on that.
Well, I'm fairly offended by the president's comments saying that, for real. Like, right. So he's basically saying, if you're conservative and you're against illegal immigration, you're calling illegal immigrants funny-looking people?
Oh, my gosh. You know, I think you guys must have signed one of Trump's non-disparagement deals, because the reality is that history and the media and the American public know Trump is the one who talks like nasty about Mexicans and illegal immigrants and even sometimes legal immigrants. He's the one that says we should bar Muslim immigrants. So there's a lot of history that calls attention to everything he has to say about the immigration issue, including his flip-flop this past week and saying, oh, maybe I'm not for barring Muslim immigrants. Okay,
so Juan, I'm glad you brought that up. This week, Fox News had a poll. Here it is. Not barring, but temporary banning. Americans agree with Donald Trump. 53% say they're in favor of a temporary ban on U.S. Muslims coming into the country. So, Juan, you're off base. America agrees with Donald Trump.
No, it's not a matter of being off base. It's a matter of being someone who believes in the founding values on this 4th of July weekend, that we do not discriminate against anybody based on their religious faith. And I might add, most of the Republican leadership agrees with this, and it said they don't agree with Donald Trump. That's Mitch McConnell, that's Paul Ryan, that's former President Bush. I could go on. Mitt Romney. But you know what? Americans are having an emotional reaction to the terror threat.
Bill Kristol, George Will, all the never Trump people, all agree, boy, and they are going to get Hillary Clinton elected if they keep it up. Hey, let me bring it to Meredes. Meredes, we found out that this month a record was broken. 2,300 Syrians in the month of June alone, refugees, came into the country. Now, this is playing right into President Obama's hands, and Hillary Clinton said we should increase the Syrian refugee population in America.
Right. I think there's a softness when it comes to immigration in regards to the plans of President Obama as well as Hillary Clinton. The concern is the fact of the vetting process. This is something we've talked about for a long time, where do they have the right documentation coming from the Syrian government or from the Syrian country to know who is coming into our nation? Do you know, Eric, how they're identified? They're identified, these refugees are identified by the United Nations. So it's not even the Americans identifying these refugees. The Americans do then move forward on a vetting process. But that is, I think, where we have to be concerned, because what we have seen is at least 40 refugees that have come that are in America have been convicted. And so it really is up to the American government to ensure that whoever is coming into our country legally is able to be vetted appropriately with the right documentation.
So, Rick, I'll bring it to you. Let's bring a bigger picture here. Some of the pro-immigration people were protesting, saying, you know what, we want no deportation, even interrupting DHS Secretary Jay Johnson while he's testifying on Capitol Hill. They're demanding we stop all deportations, even for illegal immigrants convicted of crimes. That sounds very, very dangerous to me, Rick.
Yeah, and that's where the rub is politically here for President Obama, because he has deported and he's trying to play both sides. Look, I love this story on the political angle because Barack Obama cannot help himself but be candidate Obama. He's a terrible president. He doesn't like governing. He loves campaigning. Let's give him what he is owed here. He's a fantastic campaigner, and he wants to run against Donald Trump. He is going to make this about an Obama third term, push Hillary aside. She should be very concerned because what he's trying to do every time Trump speaks, President Obama is offended. He can't help himself. He rushes to the microphone to take on this political big dog, and he is going to make this issue, this campaign, about him. And that is a mistake. He will lose. The American people will not vote for a third Obama term.
You know what? Before you go, let me just say, you know what? You see this image? This is the Statue of Liberty, guys. And you know what the Statue of Liberty with that flame stands for? That
the Statue of Liberty
is a nation of immigrants, and we love people. We love the talent.
Can I correct?
We love the talent that comes in here and creates the iPhone.
Can you put the flame down for a second?
Yeah, I'll put the flame down for you.
I want to correct you. We are a nation of immigrants. That part is true. But we are now a nation of legal immigrants.
Yes. We're a nation of immigrants, and if you think you're going to bust
legal immigrants, there lies the line.
In your own neighborhood that I'm sure is gated.
Juan wants to gray the lines.
No,
in fact, he wants to remove the line.
How about reality? If you have a way to pull out the 12 million, let me know.
Let me bring it around the horn again, starting with Gina. Can you imagine if Eric Bolling said, hey, those funny-looking people, I don't want those funny-looking people to come in here? They would literally, they would be petitioning, they would be picketing out in front of Fox News if I said that. How come President Obama can say something like that?
Because they have decided somewhere along the way, and I think it goes back to when they really completely owned the media and there was no real conservative media. They don't have that luxury anymore, but they're learning slowly, like most establishment learns slowly. And so I think that as we continue to be very loud about this, as the anti-establishment group that we all are, just citizens out here, I think that they're going to have to start to listen. But you're absolutely right. And here's the thing in response to what Juan said. I'm not hearing for Obama to call away his Secret Service or to say, hey, let's take the walls down around the White House. They're not calling for that. It's those of us who can't afford to defend ourselves with walls and gates and Secret Service that he's calling for the walls to come down.
I'll let Juan respond to that. We got to go. Go ahead, Juan. A couple of seconds.
Well, Gina, I just think that, you know what, I want you protected and safe just like I would want my family protected and safe. But
then close my borders.
No. I think we have to just put you in a gate because, you know what, the bigger threat is from people who are Americans. They commit most of the crimes, not anybody who's an immigrant or illegal immigrant. Their crime rates are lower.
He keeps putting his hand up right in front of the camera. That's why we love Juan. Juan, we got to go. We got to leave it right there. Coming up, Democrats.